Alrighty, it says that we are live. Let me just double check my screen just to make sure we're ready to go because I think we are. And hold on, what is it saying? Alrighty, it says that we are live. Yep, okay. Shout out first to NLC Productions in the house. What's up, NLC? Shout out to Big E's, home of the New York Warriors, although that is a long name. I just like Big E's better, but whatever. He is the head honcho over at the New York Warriors. What's up, X-Style State Comics? We are live, yes, sir. And Taco Dan is in the house. What's up, Taco Dan? We're here just to kind of chit chat a little bit. We're going to talk about a few things, Star Wars related. But this is probably going to be the last time for a while that we're going to talk about Star Wars because I do not want to turn my channel into strictly Star Wars. It's just definitely been a hot topic, and I think it's something that we all need to talk about, as well as a lot of people already talking about it. But I kind of wanted to weigh in my 2 cents about the whole situation and just kind of go a little bit more into detail. But before we get into all that, let me introduce my guest, Arnold. Arnold, do you want to say hi to people that are currently watching and what you got going on?
How we doing today?
Yeah, man. Everybody's doing good. How you doing?
Doing well. I'm listening to Star Wars music right now on Spotify while we're doing this on my channel right now.
That's actually kind of cool. We wouldn't get in trouble if we had that going on YouTube, would we?
Well, on YouTube, yes. On Twitch, no. What they do on video on demand is they mute certain parts of your stream if you're watching it after the streamer is done because of copyright licensing,
copyright strike or something.
Yeah, copyright. Yeah. So they have bots out there that won't completely mute you, just certain parts of your stream.
Those stupid bots.
Only on video on demand, not when you're live. You can listen to whatever you want, but for that replay to play that back, certain parts of that stream or that video will be muted.
Gotcha. J-Rod Hammy is in the house. What's up, man? We also got Captain Jenks. We got Miss Hustle. What's up, Miss Hustle? I'm gonna come and kidnap your dog. I love your dog. I'm just playing. Taco Dan says, don't you mean hate on Star Wars? Well, here's the thing, Taco Dan, real quick. I love Star Wars. I want Star Wars to succeed. I want it to be successful. But with the trash that they're putting out right now, I cannot support it at all. So that's really the situation right now. And it's not, I guess it's not really a hate on Star Wars, but just a hate on well, I guess it could be, but I actually really do care about Star Wars and I want it to succeed. I just don't want it to succeed in the filth that it's currently in right now. So J-Rod says, shout out to the New York Warriors, the Golden State Warriors. Yep. Did the Golden State win? I'm not even watching the NBA Finals. I don't know.
What's wrong with you?
I know they were down, like the Cavs were down 3-0. So, but anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and get right into this. Let me share my screen, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what we're going to start off doing. I do have a book to raffle, and I want to try to sell some raffle spots. I actually have this Amazing Spider-Man number 129 is about a 4.5 condition. I actually have some spots available. If anybody is interested, let me go and show you guys the list that I got so far. I got about 30 spots, although 3 spots will be given away for free to whoever wants them later on. I'm sorry, not right now, of course, because everybody be like, I want a spot. I want a spot. Once I got 27 spots filled, I'm going to give away 3 spots. So that's how that's going to work. But I got about, what is it? I got about 17 spots left. If anybody is interested, I got spots 4, 7, 9, 11 through 14, 16, 17, 19 through 23, then 25 through 30. It is $20 a spot. I will put my email address in the chat. If anybody is interested, just claim your spot. And then we will, and then you can go ahead and send payment to strictlycomics@gmail.com. As soon as the spots are filled up, we will give away 3 spots, and then we will actually run the raffle. So that's how that's going to work. So if anybody's interested, let me know. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and talk some Solo, because big news about Solo this week, and it is not so good. Let me go back. All right, let me see here. Okay, so Arnold, you still there? Arnold is not there. I don't know where he went. But anyways, this is the first topic that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Solo. And you there?
Sorry, I was on mute. Amateur. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's all good. So one of the things I know that we talked about last week was I was like, you know, I want to wait to see how Solo does in the second week before we kind of go back to it. And Arnold, I don't know if you know this, but word on the streets is that Solo is down over 65% from the first week to the second week, which is a huge drop off. I think that The Last Jedi was worse at like either 67 or 69% drops, something like that.
Yeah.
But for a Star Wars movie, man, this is pretty huge in my opinion.
Yeah, this is pretty big, dude. Yeah, it seems like each week it's getting worse and worse with new rumors and it's just getting really bad with Disney, it seems. Each and every week.
Yeah, and actually, I think that because of how bad this movie is done, as well as the toy sales, which we'll talk about later, Disney stocks is actually down right now.
By how much? I didn't see that.
I don't know. I don't have all the numbers or anything like that, but I have actually been hearing that for the past week that Disney stocks are actually down. And that's not a good thing, man, because I don't, you know, again, I'm not a stock market guy and I don't know, you know, anything about that, but I just know that when you look to buy stocks in Disney, you're not investing your money into something that you expect to fail.
I'm looking at the stock market right now, and I just typed in a Google Disney stock, and it shows stocks. Market summary. Walt Disney Company. It is up 1.47%. Not much, but it is up. It's at an uptick.
But for whatever reason, at some point it dropped. We just don't know how much it dropped.
Let's see. Okay, that's just today. Okay.
Yeah, anyways, I'd probably be looking for like a week-to-week type of situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. But today I went up 1.47%, but I don't know what it was throughout the week, though. I'm researching. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Shout out to Mr. Unknown Comics. Jason Smith is in the house. Brandon Stoinski. What's up, Brandon? C. Woodard in the house. What's up, man? JLS Jesse's in the house. He says, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, sir. Let me see here. NLC says success in the eyes of Disney is action-packed movie with crappy plot filler that doesn't care for lore. Exactly. But you know, anything that makes the big bucks works. But that's true, NLC. But when you start affecting Disney's pocketbook by not watching their shows, their movies, and giving them money, then that seems to be the only thing that gets their attention and the only way that they will actually listen to other people outside of their bubble. Because let's face it, whatever they got going on in their bubble, it's not working. Now, I will say that I enjoyed The Force Awakens, but when I saw The Last Jedi, it actually made me hate The Force Awakens. Did you feel that way, Arnold, or what?
I'm sorry, what was that? I hate the Force Awakens.
I liked The Force Awakens when it came out, but then when I saw The Last Jedi, I hated it so much that it actually made me hate The Force Awakens because I saw where they were trying to go with this.
I didn't have that same feeling. I thought as a standalone, The Force Awakens was pretty decent. It was an awesome setup for Rian Johnson.
It was a good setup
for The Last Jedi, but I was actually more fearful for Disney and for the Star Wars franchise after I seen the Last Jedi. Like I said in the last cast, I looked at my wife and I said, Star Wars diminishing. Like I didn't want it to diminish, not this soon, not so quickly. Again, out of the entire lineup of Star Wars movies that we had so far, the first anthology, Rogue One, was the best that out of since Disney. Since Disney acquired the franchise IP, Rogue One is the best movie so far. And we had how many movies now? 4 since then?
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I actually watched Rogue One again on Netflix the other day, and I actually still enjoyed it. It was actually really good. And I think go ahead.
I was going to say I'd like to give a shout out right now to my chat room. Kyle J Town, welcome, and Sir Douche, Mr. PK, how you doing? Welcome to the chat.
His name is Sir Douche.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome, man. Hey, you know that's part of this whole community, man. Is how people get their names, man. It just makes me just.
It's very fascinating. I mean, anyways, we were talking about Star Wars.
Yes.
I'll plug my channel. Yeah, I'll plug my stuff later on.
But anyways, like we said, Solo's down 65%. Let me go ahead and kind of show you guys some of the. Let's go to Box Office Mojo real quick because I want you guys to see some of the numbers that I've been looking at. And right here, when you go to Box Office Mojo, Solo's down 65.2%. Let's go ahead and click on it. Now, when you click on it, you can see that worldwide, this movie's only made about $276 million. Now, some people are like, dude, it's made $276 million. How is that a failure? Well, keep in mind that there was a lot of reshoots, and I think that Ron Howard shot as much as 70 or 80% of the movie. Now, when I go into a movie like Solo, Disney, I want to say that it probably has a minimum of $180 million budget. You got some echoing going on there, Arnold?
Yeah, a little bit. Hold on for a second.
Okay. So anyways, when you look at the budget of Solo, of course, they're not going to show it because they don't want the movie's already a failure. And a lot of the times when these movies fail, they don't really show the production budget. Now, sometimes they do, but typically a situation like this and even this early, they're just not going to show it. So I want to just say conservatively that there was probably at least $250 million put into this movie as far as their production budget. Now, worldwide in its second week, it's only made $276 million. Now, there's been a lot of thoughts and ideas and debates about why that is. Arnold, I don't know if you've heard some of it, but some of the issues, and I think we talked about this last week with Star Wars fatigue, which I call BS on. The other thing is that I guess there's been, with the Memorial Day weekend, there's been not a lot of success with movies that drop around that time. I think Justice League was dropped around that time the previous year, and it didn't do so well. But I don't think that has anything to do with it.
I don't think so either.
But one of the things I will say to the defense of some of the people that have been arguing this is one of the things I will say that I think has something to do with it is the fact that you came out a week after Deadpool came out.
Right.
And I think that Deadpool probably affected a little bit. But when I compare Star Wars to Deadpool, Deadpool shouldn't even compare at all. Deadpool shouldn't even, show really very little competition to a franchise like Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Star Wars itself, I mean, it should be the Midas touch. That franchise should be. It shouldn't matter when it comes out. It should be making at least breaking even. But again, with Justice League and Solo, a Star Wars story releasing on Memorial Day weekend, it shouldn't matter. I mean, if it's a good story, if it's a good movie, it should be successful. In this case, it was not. It's just, it fell flat on its face so quickly. That's what fascinates me. It fell on its face so fast, and with the Star Wars label on it. Wow, I'm still baffled. I'm like, what the? And then earlier today, I won't get into it, but shot some video of the toy line, and holy cow!
Yeah, did you?
It just
well, yeah. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
but
let's not get ahead, but
we are going to get into that, which is great. I'm glad you got some footage about that. But we were talking last night over on JLS Comics a little bit about this. We touched on this whole topic a little bit, but not a lot. But one of the things that I strongly believe is when it came to The Last Jedi, I compared it to the Transformers animated movie that came out in 1986.
86, yep.
When Optimus Prime died.
Yep.
Now, when you go on screen and you kill Optimus Prime for the sake of selling toys, I think that there could be a good comparison between that and killing off Luke Skywalker the way that they did in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, with The Last Jedi, there's that's just one of many I consider a mistake of Rian Johnson and Disney's handling of that particular story. In my personal perspective, my personal opinion, The Force Awakens was fine, and after we watched that movie, Episode 7, I had high hopes for the franchise, and then something happened with The Last Jedi. I just don't understand what. I don't know.
Yeah,
and
something big happened. All right.
Yeah, something twisted and became perverted, and it's a lump of crap now. And
well,
I don't know.
Let me just say this. I don't know how you felt, but when I came out of The Last Jedi, I just didn't feel right.
Yeah, I didn't feel right at all. I was still, when we were walking to our car after getting out of the theater, I was processing it like,
yeah,
wow, is this repairable? No. No,
yeah.
I mean, everything's canon. So
I didn't know really what to think. I had to ask people around me, like, "Hey, did you like this movie?" Or, and my sister-in-law liked it, but she's not a Star Wars fan. I don't think she's maybe seen 2 Star Wars movies in the theater in her whole life or something like that.
Right.
So I guess I kind of expected that type of answer from her. And my wife was like, no, she didn't like it. And my wife is very blunt and very honest, and so she'll tell you stuff. She won't sugarcoat anything. And she was like, no, I didn't like it. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I liked it either. And it wasn't until later that I started to process things and I started to do some research. And I was like, you know what? I found out, like, man, Last Jedi was really, really bad. So the reason why I'm talking about Last Jedi again, guys, is because I think that all this is backlash. And I think this is the reason why Solo is failing so bad. Even though people are saying that Solo is better than The Last Jedi, The Last Jedi is such horrible horse crap that doesn't really say much to me, because I honestly feel like I could write a better story than whoever wrote The Last Jedi.
Yeah, anybody could at this point. I mean, fan fiction, you just take anything from fan fiction or the Old Republic or Timothy Vaughn with I'm drawing a blank. That trilogy I discussed the last broadcast.
I don't know. I'm reading the comments. NLC says when he was watching The Last Jedi, he was laughing at how bad it was.
The Thrawn trilogy. I was trying to.
Oh, the Thrawn trilogy.
Thrawn trilogy. Yeah, if they made that into a movie, I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Dark Horse put out a lot of stories, and you got the novels, and even in the video games with the Old Republic, like you were talking about, there's a lot of good content, a lot of really, really good stories in this whole Star Wars universe. But I think that the direction that these people are taking it is just in the wrong direction. And Captain Jenks puts a lot of the blame on Rian Johnson, while I would do the same. I would have to put a lot of the blame on this woman, Kathleen Kennedy, and we're going to talk a little bit about her right now, because I think that she is a big problem. I always look at, whenever something is failing, you always got to start from the top down. Even though Rian Johnson, the only movie I guess that he did prior to The Last Jedi was Looper. I didn't see Looper. Did you see Looper?
No, I wanted to. I think it's on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, maybe I'll check it out just to see how crappy or good that is. But I guess my point is that this stuff always starts from the top down. And when you have somebody like Kathleen Kennedy kind of at the reins of everything, and she's going to direct, she's going to pretty much take control of the director. And if they don't do things according to how she wants it done, they're going to be fired. And proof of this is seen as how she's probably fired. How many directors has she fired already? She's fired at least 2 to 5 directors already.
I want to see, to my recollection, it's about 3 directors. This is what I don't understand. Excuse me. Is they have a roundtable discussion of what they're going to make out of the next Star Wars story. This is roundtable, just a spitballing. The gaming industry does this. All form of entertainment does this. They sit at a round table, shoot ideas, brainstorm, and then once they come in agreement of that brainstorm, that they start formulating a script. Well, they made a script, hired directors, put financial backing behind the project, and then they start firing the directors. What? Why? You spent so much time. I mean, it's not with Solo Star Wars story, it's with Episode 9 as well. They fired that director as well. So with Episode 9, I'm not sure if they put financial backing behind that project yet. Certainly not with marketing, obviously, but I don't know if they started filming. I don't No,
Well, they just
I
got
don't
this.
think so.
They said it's film is supposed to start in July.
Okay.
But with all this backlash, I think they're going to go back to the round table and at least change the script. You have to,
Right.
because if you're going to just double down and triple down with what you already got, it's going to be a horrible failure. And I think Arnold, you said this last week that Star Wars is dead. Star Wars is done.
Yeah.
And I'll get into actually at the end of the show. You're going to really want to stick around because I have a great idea on how Disney can actually recoup and get a lot of money from what they've lost with Solo. It is a fantastic idea. And if Disney and Lucasfilms listens to me, they will actually be successful at it. But I'm not going to disclose what that is until the end of the show because it is a great idea. I guarantee it. Real quick, everybody, let me go ahead and plug this in. I'm currently still selling spots at $20 a spot. I have about 17 spots still available. As soon as 27 spots are filled up and paid for, I'm going to give away 3 spots to anybody, even those who have already claimed and paid for spots. We're going to raffle off an Amazing Spider-Man number 129. This is the very first appearance of the Punisher. This is at least a $450 to $550 book right now. Yeah, it's not graded. This book graded in this condition, the last sale on eBay was $675. So if anybody's interested, I got a few spots at $20 a piece. Go ahead and claim your spot. You can also go on Instagram. Anybody knows my Instagram is Strictly Comics. I've been posting it all day, so you can go ahead and pick a spot there as well. And I kind of keep everything together and keep track of everything so that nobody loses their spot or space or anything like that. So if anybody's interested, you can either claim a spot right here on YouTube, and I'll type you in, I'll fill you in, and then just send $20 to strictlycomics@gmail.com. And then I will log you in, and then you just keep up with everything. And then once we get those 27 spots taken care of, then I'll go ahead and give away 3 spots. I'll probably open up a mini here really, really soon. It's probably about due for a mini. But for right now, I'm just going to keep it at $20 a spot. But as soon as I open up the mini, just follow me on Instagram, and you guys can pick spots in the mini as well. So.
Yeah, I also share that on my stream as well. So
sweet,
all that information.
But going back to Kathleen Kennedy, there's a lot of rumors going on right now, and one of the rumors actually started off with John Campea. John Campea is a big YouTuber. A lot of people call him a shill because he's kind of in bed with Disney and all these big companies that put out these movies because they get press passes and they get free perks and stuff like that to basically just, sell their movies and pretend to like the crap that they put out. And one of the big notices or differences that people have noticed with him is that he gave a lot of praise to the Last Jedi and to Solo, and then now all of a sudden he's kind of flipped the script with Kathleen Kennedy. And what he's doing now is now he's starting to kind of go along with what a lot of people are saying. And I think a lot of his fan base as well. And everybody's saying that Kathleen Kennedy has to go. And a lot of people think that he's already been tipped off, but this type of information hasn't been disclosed yet because of her being a woman. And it's going to look bad if Disney fires a woman because then that makes Disney sexist, which I completely disagree with. If you're bad at your job, you're bad at your job.
Right.
And to say that, they're firing her because she's a woman is just a stupid cop out. But a lot of people think that he's been tipped off already because now he's starting to flip the script and say that Kathleen Kennedy needs to go. And some of the rumors behind closed doors, or some of the rumors is that behind closed doors, they've already let her go, which is why she hasn't had any kind of appearance other than the Solo premiere. Outside of the Solo premiere, her face hasn't been seen anywhere.
Right.
And so I think that she's going to end up not being president of Lucasfilms anymore, and somebody else will be. Now, some people might say, well, dude, it's just one film. Why would you get rid of her after one film? I think what's really important here, and as we said at the beginning, is that what's the term, Arnold? money talks and bullcrap walks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as you're as long as you're selling tickets and you're putting seats, putting butts in the seats, you're going to maintain your position, your level of power. But when you lose $300 to $500 million on a film, that's going to draw attention, and in her case, probably some unnecessary attention, although it is necessary. But
yeah,
but go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Red flags are flying everywhere. If I was the CEO of Disney, and one branch of that company is like going down like the Titanic all of a sudden, or not all of a sudden, I would just even to see
it hit the iceberg. It like hit the iceberg. Yeah.
But before that, when they put the financial backing in the project, and they started firing directors and scrapping and reshooting 80% of it, as a CEO, I would be looking at that division of the company going, what is happening? That's what I would be doing as a CEO, obviously. And then to find out that The Last Jedi didn't do so well, and then Solo just fell flat on its face. Yeah, it's time to fire people. That's what I would do, because they spent $4 billion on this thing, and they're not.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's ILM. That's I think George Lucas's mug right there. You know, there's a lot of things going on to acquire the Star Wars property, and to allow it to fall flat on its face, and especially coming after a movie like The Last Jedi, where you kill off the spoiler, you kill off most of the legacy characters. The only person that's still alive, I think, right now is Chewbacca and Princess Leia.
Oh, don't forget, they're gonna bring Lando back.
Oh yeah,
that's the rumor.
Billy D. Williams. Yeah, that's a rumor. That's a rumor for episode 9. But yeah,
I don't think he's gonna sell. I don't think he's gonna make that kind of draw like Mark Hamill would.
No, he hasn't. Billy D. Williams hasn't been in a good movie since, I want to say, Return of the Jedi, to be honest, back in '83.
Well, he wasn't Batman. Remember, he was Harvey Dent, and was it the first Batman?
Yeah, I think he was the mayor.
Or was he the mayor?
Yeah, I think so. Mayor or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up, but yeah, he doesn't. He's not enough of a draw. I mean, if it was Harrison Ford, yeah, of course, but or even, you know, anyways, I was thinking Mark Hamill, but Mark Hamill's now more popular than he was back in the 80s and 90s. I mean, in the 90s, you know, Wing Commander, that's the only type of work he could do back then.
Yeah, but he's in Star Wars, so he should be popular enough. It's like Vin Diesel. Nobody cares to see Vin Diesel unless he's in a Fast and Furious film.
Right.
But anyways, so I think one of the problems with Kathleen Kennedy is that, and I think I agree with us. I think somebody mentioned it. Jacqueline O'Geary says, like Kathleen Kennedy ever gave a damn about us. One of the things I will say about that is I don't think she understands Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't think so either. She has no clue of what Star Wars is for to the fans. I don't even think she puts herself in the fans' shoes. I think she just sees this property and sees big money, and especially with the hashtag Me Too, and she's trying to be relevant with these political agendas that's going on right now. It's just, that's a bad move. You don't put politics. Oh yes, politics is in Star Wars. It's a made up political machine. It's not real world politics, and you're trying to insert that crap into this movie or into the franchise. That's a huge difference. So it's just, what are you doing? You know, it's, I don't know. I mean, that's why I think it's dead, is because, you know, with The Last Jedi, there's irreparable damage that has been done so much, and then Solo is fell on its face, beyond its face at this point. So how do you repair the franchise? You can't.
Well, some people are saying you just need to start all over. You need to start all over or redo The Last Jedi or something, because it's not looking good. I remember watching a YouTuber. He was like, as soon as they saw The Last Jedi, he was like, Star Wars is in trouble. Yeah. Star Wars is in big trouble. And a lot of people don't even see it.
Now, the problem of redoing The Last Jedi, I seen on YouTube, someone did a fan edit, and people are rallying behind it, saying this is what The Last Jedi should be. The problem with all that stuff is that it's still fresh in people's memories. This is, you know, the franchise has been acquired by Disney about 6 years ago now, back in 2012. It's still in people's memory. You have to allow time to allow that to fade in people's minds. So at least 20 years down the line of nothing, you know, Star Wars is dead at this point. I'm just hypothetical right here, just an example. Let's say you kill off, put Star Wars on hold for 20 years. When you reboot it from now until whatever 20 years is, I'm not going to do the math because I can't think right now. When 2038, when you bring it back in 2038, it's people will be, you know, will be probably dead by then. Our generation, but our kids will be like, well, Star Wars, it'll be relevant again. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I mean, our generation who grew up with this stuff, who's seen the creation of this stuff, and unfortunately the downfall. But well,
I don't think you need to wait 20 years. Because from episode 3 to episode 7, when The Force Awakens came out, that was about 10 years, and people were just stoked to see Star Wars come back. But I do agree. I think Star Wars does need to be put on hold for a little bit right now. I don't think it needs to be that long, but I think it needs to be put on hold because you're right. It is still kind of fresh in people's minds, and it needs to have time for people just to kind of forget about it. And maybe they could redeem a little bit of the crap that they've messed up, because you start putting out a film every year, 2 films a year, which is what they really wanted to do. Right. You're gonna bomb every film, and like no film is gonna make money at this point. Right. I agree with Captain Jenks. Captain Jenks says bring back Mark Hamill for episode 9. I definitely agree with that. They need to find a way. They just need to find a way.
At least with the Force Ghost, and explain what had happened with him instead of, you know, crawling on a rock and taking a fart, and then that was his death.
But do you think a Force Ghost is enough to get people to come and watch Star Wars?
I would think so. Just a little cameo or something. And it makes sense because Mark Hamill was, you know, at first he was against the movie. He was on the red carpet telling the fans during an interview, this is not how I'm paraphrasing here, how I would portray Luke Skywalker. He flipped that, and now he's like, oh, this is the greatest movie of all time, blah, blah, blah. He was just raving about it. I think he's going to be in episode 9 because they probably put him in a contract right now.
If I was Mark Hamill, dude, and I read that script, I would have been like, I want $50 million to start, because you already know he's in his mind. He's already like, man, this is gonna fail, and it's gonna fail hard. So I might as well cash in as much as I can.
I would lift up the script, look at the director and Kathleen Kennedy, and be like, are you sure about this? Are you sure?
Like they're like, yes. Like, all right. Well, my fee just went up, so this little $200,000 or $500,000 or however much they paid them, it ain't gonna cut it. So
yeah, I would do the Alec Guinness. I would wave my hand and be like, you will not make this movie.
I think Mark Hamill was so much more in tune with the fans than Kathleen Kennedy or anybody else at Lucasfilms.
At this point, he was a spokesperson for the behind the scenes projects of the Star Wars. He was the guy, Mark Hamill was, of Star Wars. I mean, he understands the fans completely. I mean, he's the voice of Joker. He was behind the scenes of the animated series of Batman, you know, everything. And that realm of geekdom, I call the nerdom realm. He's you know, in tune with that stuff.
I agree, because I feel like what's her name, Carrie Fisher, kind of wanted to get away from it, and you know, Harrison Ford didn't want to go anywhere near it.
Right. Yeah. He didn't. I believe this is my own personal theory about Harrison Ford. He didn't want to be typecast as Han Solo. Yeah. But with I mean, back in 1980, which was Empire Strikes Back, that same movie, I wanted to say, or that same time period, it was Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So he's known for, and he was the president of the United States of Air Force One, so he's known for a lot of these movies, you know. So, which I don't blame him. I wouldn't.
Well, Indiana Jones too.
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
So I mean, I don't know, man. I get what you're saying, but I think at this point, I think that Kathleen Kennedy needs to, or whoever they get, needs to have somebody that understands Star Wars
exactly
in position of leadership, because right now it's just not going anywhere right now. And I think, and I cannot compare it better to, like I said, when they killed Optimus Prime, that just destroyed a lot of kids' hearts and emotions. And what was the point of going any further? There was nowhere else to go. And I think that they think that Star Wars is untouchable. Like, you can't kill Star Wars, and they don't understand that when you kill these core characters. Okay, so let's think about this, because this is actually one of the things I want to go to, and I want to give this question out to the chat as well. What movie can you think of that you take away the main character, and it's just going to continue to be successful? Because I don't think that you could do that with just any film. I mean, you look at one of the examples that came to mind was the Terminator franchise. You took away Arnold Schwarzenegger. They tried to do that with what was that, Terminator Salvation or something like that?
Yeah, it was Salvation, and it was this is before the Christian Bale one. So
no, that was a Christian Bale. They actually tried to CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger and put him in there. They took the 80s version,
okay,
and from the original 80s film, and they put him in that, but it was like a cameo or whatever.
Didn't he play Christian Bale? Didn't he play John Connor?
Who?
Christian Bale in that movie?
Yeah, he was the older. Yeah.
Okay, it's been so long. Since I've seen that movie. I remember watching it, and I rented it on DVD at the time, and hating the movie after that was done. But yeah, you're right. Take out the key character or a key piece to the the Jenga puzzle, and the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, and you go like, okay, I'll give you an example. Harry Potter's big, right?
Yeah.
Who's the main character in Harry Potter?
Harry Potter.
Take him out. Who do you got? You kill Harry Potter. Who do you got? What do you
Hermione.
got? Is it enough to continue a franchise? Is what I'm saying.
Well, it could. I think at the end of the last Harry Potter movie, you see the future where like they had kids and stuff like that. So if they branched it out with kids, but yeah, you're right. If you take out Harry Potter, it defeats the purpose of Harry Potter, because Harry Potter's in the title.
Nerd Vision has a good one. Die Hard. You take out Bruce Willis. What do you got?
Yeah, you just have Hard, I guess, instead of Die Hard.
Right. Just all right. So yeah, I mean, it's just something to think about. I mean, it just didn't make a lot of sense to take Luke out, and I mean, I don't know. There's all kind of movies that you could think of that you just take out the main character, and it's like, how does it even survive?
I mean, yeah, if it does survive, it's going to struggle basically. So
yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move on. So word is that not Rose, I was going to call her Rose Tico. What's her name? Kelly Marie Tran, who plays Rose Tico, was harassed on Instagram and deleted her Instagram account because of the harassment.
Wow.
I'm not, I'm on Instagram, and I have had hate on a little bit on Facebook and a little bit on YouTube. But they did say that the hate on Instagram is more vicious, I guess, than like Twitter. Maybe it's because you can only type so much on Twitter. I don't know. But anyways, she was just harassed so much to the point that she just wanted to delete her Instagram account and not even deal with it anymore. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I heard about that. I think that's obviously that's going way too far. I mean, it's not like she has control. She's just an actress in a project. It's not like she has complete control of that. It's just, I don't know. People are just idiots, man. Really, just stop.
Well, yeah, and okay. So let's talk about this, because I do agree that bullying is not, I guess, a good idea, and I guess you shouldn't be bullying.
It doesn't solve anything.
If you have an opinion, and biblically speaking, at least debating, it's just not something that is really supposed to be done, at least not in an unhealthy way. If you're in a healthy debate in which both sides are listening, that's fine. But when one side isn't listening and you just keep egging on and on, then you're not going to really get anywhere, and it's just a waste of time and energy.
Right.
But I think that I'm just going to call it what it is. I think that this is complete BS, and here's why. Disney and Lucasfilms has hated all the backlash of Disney and Lucasfilms has hated all the backlash from losing so much money on Solo that they've lashed out at the fans constantly. And when you're constantly lashing out at the fans, that's going to rub people the wrong way, and therefore people are not going to come see your film. So I think that this is just a lot of light has been put onto the quote unquote harassment, and because Disney and Lucasfilms has been calling fans who don't like The Last Jedi sexist, racist, bigot, stuff like that, because there's a lead female role. And I don't think that that's the case. I think that people hated The Last Jedi because it was just a crappy story and you killed off Luke Skywalker in a horrible, stupid way. Right. Because there's a lot of films out there with strong female roles, and people don't care. Like, people don't care. But when you're forcing, when you're forcing all this, feminism, and you're making every single male character in The Last Jedi look stupid, retarded, a thief, a moron, and women are, infallible and inferior. Men are inferior to women, and you start doing all this stuff, it's just going to rub people the wrong way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're sexist and we're racist and we're bigots and stuff like that. So I think that this is just kind of some backlash on Disney and Lucasfilm's part, because they're starting to suck so bad, and people are just not wanting to watch films that have all their forced propaganda and agendas into their film, permeating all throughout their film, trying to force feed it down us. And I think that people are just tired of it. And I think that that's the reason that that's just my opinion, though. I look at things a little bit differently. Once somebody says something on the surface, I very rarely take it at, face value. I start to go a little bit deeper and figure out what's going on. And I think that seems to be the case with this. I could be wrong, but that's just my gut reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't tolerate high school mentality at all. I hated high school as a kid. I dislike bullies big time, and internet trolls of any kind. It's just shallow lives that people lead. Really, it is. I mean, people are just pathetic. If you disagree with somebody, especially with an actress like her that has nothing to do other than be an actress in a project, she doesn't make the decisions, and you choose her as an easy target to attack. I mean,
but she does have control of her own page. So, I mean, couldn't you block people or delete people?
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're having, like, let's say 1,000 people spewing vitriol and bile at you, for what? Because you were part of a movie that people disliked. I mean, come on, this is really. I mean, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, will I go so far as like, oh, poor thing, poor? No, I'm just stop being a dick.
and see, the thing is that, like, I get all that, but the thing is that just because you're going to be famous, just because you're famous in a Star Wars movie, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to like you either.
Right, but it's well, it's almost like that people are defending those people's actions of bullying and stuff. I don't defend it at all. I mean, if people want to start bullying, I say, piss off, go somewhere else. I mean, she could be a liberal, she could be a Republican, I don't care. You start bullying a person because that's an easy target, go find something else to do. I mean, there's no reason for that stuff.
But if anybody, okay, so the what was the movie review that my wife and I did? We did the Black Panther movie review, an African's perspective. We got over 18,000 views on that video. Yeah. But guess what? We got 50 thumbs down.
What?
Now we do got 487 thumbs up, but we got 50 thumbs down. And here's my point. We had a lot of negative comments. We had a lot of people hating, racial comments. Not a lot, but some. My point is we had a lot of people that hated what we said. The fact that my wife is black and I'm white, my wife is fine and I'm not so handsome, I guess, whatever. Wait, a lot of, huh?
You're white? I thought you were purple.
No. My point is that there was a lot of hate towards that video, but we just ignored it. We ignored it. And I told my wife, I was like, hey babe, it's like, should I delete these comments? And she said, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to delete them. And here's why. Number one, I can just ignore it. And number two, other people came to our defense. Other people came to our defense in the comment section. And some of those people were, I guess, attacked back, if you want to call it that. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of I'm kind of the type that I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it, let it be natural. And you're going to have some hate, you're going to have some mean things, but you know what? I can just ignore it. And I ignored so many of those hate remarks. Some of them I kind of like, you know, just poked at a little bit just because, you know, so I like to engage in debate sometimes because it's really fun to me. It keeps me sharp. But, you know, a lot of that stuff I really just kind of ignored. And I think that Kelly Marie Tran, she could have done the same thing. She could have just ignored it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I understand what people are saying, and I'm looking at the chat, and like Alan Rickman made Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves way better than the movie ever had to be, or Tim Curry made that film. Yeah, I mean, after the fact, after the project was said and done, yeah, the people looked at it and seen those individuals and said, yeah, they were the key part of the movie, but did they have 100% control over that project? No, they you know, Alan Rickman, he came from Die Hard, so he probably made some suggestions, but could he 100% influence people? No, he can't. It's all ultimately up to the director and the film studio to do all that stuff.
Yeah. But I do agree with what you're saying. I think that, you know, the harassment needs people need to not harass. I guess if you got a mean thing to say, you're probably good at just not saying anything at all.
Right.
But you know, I kind of feel sorry for, like, I hated her character, but I didn't hate her. Like, I didn't like go and start attacking Kelly Marie Tran because I know that anybody who would be put in her shoes would have done the same thing because you're getting paid to be in a huge film. I mean, who would not have taken that role? Who's going to be the one to say, you know what? Nah, I don't feel like being in Star Wars. Nobody would say that.
Right. I mean, anybody would do it. I mean, yeah, I mean, with Rose, the character Rose, I was indifferent with her. I mean, when I first seen her and I seen the love interest, I was like, why is she here? But to go deeper than that, I mean, I didn't know anything. I had no information on her or who she was as a character at all. She was there, fell in love with Finn, and she died too. So
no, she didn't die. Remember, she hit Finn from trying to sacrifice himself.
Mm-hmm.
To remember, he was going
and
to
sacrifice. He ran to her.
No, she ran to him, and then this is what she said. This is why I got this picture. She says, "We win not by killing what we hate, but by saving what we love," which was so stupid.
Yeah, because in the theater I watched it, he ran to her because she didn't get out of the pod, and he was holding her in his arms, and that's what she said. And
was that like at the beginning or something, or that was the end?
It was towards the end after it was during Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren battle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
It was like 6 things happening during that sequence with the red sand.
I think I'm still trying to forget The Last Jedi out of my mind. Maybe that's it.
I mean, I'll give The Last Jedi this. It had good ideas. The execution was poor. I mean, it was just why. I mean, visually, the red sand was cool.
Yeah, visually was awesome.
And then the AT-AT walkers was beaming down onto Luke Skywalker. That was cool. But how Luke Skywalker, he flicked his shoulder to wipe the sand dust off him. That was like, what? That's much Guardian of the Galaxy going on. The beginning of the movie with the jokes on Baxter Bricks or whatever his name is, with Poe Dameron and him, that was just too much. Guardians of the Galaxy. It was just they try to put like one reviewer on YouTube, I think it was Geeks and Gamers, I think. Anyways, made a mention that there's too much real world, our world, in Star Wars, and Star Wars didn't feel like a galaxy far away anymore. So that's a part of the script writing, and yeah, it's just, man, right now it feels like Star Wars. There's too many cooks in the kitchen right now. That's what it feels like. I expressed that during our first live cast, but there's really no direction.
Yeah, because you're talking about, what was it, General Hux when he was
Yep.
When he was talking to the was it Poe Dameron, and he was, yeah, it felt. I mean, to put those type of jokes, which are a lot of jokes that we deal with in our modern era, you know, cell phones and smartphones and stuff like that. It just felt so out of place. And the dude at the very beginning just had me like, what is this? That didn't even fit. Didn't even feel like Star Wars.
Yeah, it did not feel like Star Wars, like the traditional sense of Star Wars would feel. And then I was a little worried after that, because that's the first few minutes of the movie right there. It was General Hux and Poe Dameron. You know, Dameron's doing mom jokes with him, and I'm like, oh, come on, this can't be the movie. Yep, it was the movie.
Yeah. All right, so I don't think I have much else to say about this. I just
it's sad. It's sad that people want to use her as a punching bag. At the same time, she could probably mute her account or whatever. But if she wants to delete her account to avoid it as well, that's her prerogative as well. I mean, for people to be like, well, look at her, she deleted her account, but okay, so you want to give her the abuse, and she's supposed to take it for what? Because she's part of the Star Wars project.
Well, I went on Ridley Scott's Instagram, and she still got her Instagram up. She doesn't post very often, but her stuff is still up. And I can imagine that she has a lot of backlash as well. I didn't and start reading any of the comments or anything, but she didn't delete her account.
Yeah, people handle it differently. If it was me, I would probably delete my account too. If I had thousands of people call me racial and sexist remarks, I would just delete it completely. Be like, all right, I'm done. But for people to be like, oh, look at her, she deleted her account. Look how a wuss. Come on, that's high school stuff, man.
Well,
life's too short for that.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next big topic. This was kind of a project that we both had over the past week. I guess you could call it homework. I don't know, but Star Wars toys sales are down big time.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of research that can be done, a lot of information about this, but it is not looking good at all. And some of the points that, and I'll give credit to where credit's due. World Class Bullshitters, that's his name. He taught a lot about this, and he is so good at researching and finding information that the guy's just spot on. Some of the points that he made was that Star Wars toys have always sold in the past,
big time.
Very rarely would you see Star Wars toys not made available for consumers or even on clearance. Now it's everywhere. Like, people can't give this stuff away. And I don't think people understand how significant this is, because Star Wars toy sales, if you watch the Toys That Made Us and you watch that very first episode, which I think was based on Star Wars, I want to say that they said, at least back then, I don't know if that's the case now, I want to say that George Lucas said that toy sales factor into about 60% of all the gross revenue of movies and franchises. During that time when they have a movie out or whatever.
Yeah,
that's a lot, dude.
Yeah, it was that was brilliant of George Lucas, is because that was why it was every 3 years. So you release a movie and you release a toy line based on that movie, and you have 3 years of worth of toy sales, basically.
Yeah, because you still got toys from The Force Awakens that they can't sell.
Force Awakens in my location, I'll show you a video. I went to Walmart, Meijer, and Target, and today at 3 o'clock my time, I'm in.
I'll tell you what, get your video set up. Let me get some shout outs to people in the chat, and then let me know when you're ready.
All right.
Shout out to Jacqueline O'Geary. Shout out to Mr. Unknown. Shout out to Jesse. Jesse says that all the toys are on the clearance bins now. Yeah, I agree. A lot of them are. Captain Jenks, shout out to you, man. So I think a lot of people are kind of aware of the toy sales are just not selling. And I think some of the things that Arnold and I are going to show you, we're going to show you some footage that we got of us going into Toys R Us. But one of the things I did notice is that even at the Walmart, the Star Wars selection, it's just so much smaller than what it used to be. Arnold, you ready?
Yeah, I'm all set, ready to go.
All right, you can go ahead and play it. I'll put the screen on you.
All right, the screen share is activated right now.
Let me stop sharing. There you go.
Okay,
that should be all you.
You see what I see?
I see floor.
Floor. Okay, that's with all my videos. I try to go for the floor and pan up. So this is Meyer. I'm in Michigan, and you're in Texas, right?
You can go ahead and play it. We'll talk over it.
Okay. So I'll turn on the audio real quick. So yeah. I'll be pointing at items. Everything with the gold Star Wars logo is the Solo ones, and that's the bottom shelf. That's the mid shelf. When you pan up, there's not much of that. Where I just pointed, it was fully stocked. That's all fully stocked as well.
So this is all Solo stuff, or kind of a mixture of everything?
It's a mixture of everything, but with the gold Star Wars logo, that's Solo specific.
Okay.
So
the gold logo is Solo.
Yep. Everything with the gold logo is Solo. So you still got episode 8 stuff up there, but the Solo stuff is pretty much fully stocked, just about.
Okay. Jacqueline O'Geary says, how many points of articulation do they have? And then I guess he answers his own question and says it the same as they did in the late 70s and 80s. Captain Jenks says, Last Jedi should written off as a dream Luke has, and wakes up and says, no way will that be real.
I'll just put this up for now. So I went to Target.
Okay.
And I got 2 videos for Target specific.
Okay.
Let me do this again.
So this is the second video. Okay, Target. So there's quite a few Star Wars toys that just really aren't selling.
So everything that's a yellow Star Wars with a letter logo, that's all Solo specific items.
Okay.
So we got episode 8 stuff still there. But comparing episode 8 stuff to Solo, there's not much. There's still way more episode 8 stuff that could be sold. All this video was taken at around 3 to 3:15 p.m. my time today. I took this video today.
Okay. That's a big display.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of toys.
So here's again Target. This is the Legos.
And Legos is really popular. I would have thought at least the Legos stuff would have sold.
There's not much there for Solo. And you got the little tags that says new Lego. And a pan over here, and it says new, all those tags, and they're still fully stocked. Granted, a lot of the Star Wars stuff, like episode 8, seems to be fully stocked as well. But in terms of how many Solo stuff there are, they didn't make that many toys, I don't think.
Okay.
This was Walmart. And I think they had a sale because that's what it looks like.
This is Walmart right here?
This is Walmart. This is the only section they had in Walmart for Star Wars. Okay,
but a lot of the stuff was actually gone.
It is gone. Yep. Again, I'm not sure if they had a sale or what. That's gone.
Okay, but you can also see that the section for Star Wars is so small.
It's tiny. Let me play it again. It is very tiny. And of course, a blaster, the Han Solo blaster. No one's buying that.
Yeah, I heard it was like awkwardly big, and
yep.
It's just, I don't know. You can't, I don't know. It's going to be a hard sell selling these characters to people. Is that all you got?
That's all you got.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I got probably a bit more footage. But we can just talk over it.
Hold on for a second. What the heck was that?
But this is me right here walking into Toys R Us, which I've been wanting to do anyways because, you know, Toys R Us has been a big part of my childhood. Let me go ahead and skip it a little bit because they actually had a whole section closed off where you had to go in and out of one area.
Okay. Yeah, because all my Toys R Us in my location are, in fact, in Michigan, are gone now.
Okay.
Yeah, they all went out of business.
Now this location, this Toys R Us is actually I think it's in a good location, and I think it can afford to stay open a little bit longer. But as you can see, even at 40 to 60% off, it's not enough to where they could sell everything. The stuff is going away bit by bit, slowly at a time. But it's just, and I've always thought Toys R Us prices were really, really high, anyways.
Yeah, extremely high.
Because I can go there's some Star Wars figures right there. This, of course, what was it? The Furbies, what were the Porgs? That's what they were, the Porgs.
Yeah, I hated those. Golf balls, man. Or croquet balls, I should say.
Right. Jesse says now it's Toys Aren't Us. Yeah, right.
Right. Exactly.
Here's a lot of Star Wars stuff right here. A lot of the action sets, lightsaber sets, stuff like that. Even at 40% off, nobody's buying it, because I think a lot of the same toys at Toys R Us you could find at Walmart for a little bit cheaper, Target as well.
Right. Yeah, I could go on a big rant of Toys R Us. I used to work for them for about 3 years.
Oh yeah.
And I even asked my store manager at the time what ideas, and a lot of the ideas they're not independent, they're not franchised, basically, or they're all corporate. And I was like, why don't they just franchise the stores out?
That's a good idea.
But they never did. And I asked her, well, could someone dress up as Jeffrey the Giant and like spin signs out front? Nope, that has to go through corporate. It's like, what?
Jacqueline O'Geary says pornography.
Pornography, yeah.
That's a good one. Somebody had a hashtag that. Actually, my wife and I did see something, and you can see a section right there. Some of the Star Wars stuff was actually sold. My wife and I were actually talking. Saw on the news yesterday how the owner of Toys R Us is actually trying to work a deal. Yeah, you can see some of the stuff is sold right there. It was either sold or sectioned off, or consolidated, not sectioned off, but consolidated,
right,
into a different area. Probably consolidated more so than anything. But they are trying to work something out to where the owner of Toys R Us is working with a buyer, and he's trying to work out a deal where that he can sell it. Is it investors? Yeah. But he also wants to have a role.
No, he doesn't want to have a role. The investors said they will bring him on.
They will bring him on. Okay, so he doesn't want to be on, but he probably still wants to be on, otherwise he wouldn't do it. But anyways, they want to bring him on. The investors want to bring him on. I think there's still a strong enough name with Toys R Us to sell toys, but whatever they do, their PR, their marketing, all this stuff has to be different, because it's just, you can buy toys anywhere. Why would I go to Toys R Us and spend 10, 15, and in some cases 20% more than what I can get it for at Walmart or Target?
Right.
Now this particular Toys R Us, and actually a lot of them in my area, had huge sections devoted to Star Wars. Huge sections. And every time I would go in there, because I would always go into Toys R Us looking for like some of the Todd McFarlane stuff, some of the Transformers stuff, and I would always see these same Star Wars toys and figures that just would never sell.
Right. Yeah, I'm comparing what I'm seeing now, or this, to what Phantom Menace, when that first came out. Phantom Menace Toys R Us, because that's when this is back in 1999 when I worked there for the first time. They devoted the whole entire front of the store Phantom Menace, banners, everything. And now you look at it now, it's like, granted they're going out of business, but still, it's consolidated. It's kind of spread apart, at least in your area. And our area, when we seen the Star Wars, it wasn't much.
Yeah.
It was like
Jason.
Go ahead.
Jason asked what Walmart is. It's actually Toys R Us. We're just getting footage. I just wanted to get some footage to see how many Toys R Us or Star Wars toys are still available at Toys R Us, even with the drastic discounts that they're currently having, and they still have a lot of stock left.
Yeah.
Somebody said. Doug says then make Disney buy that crap back. I think the problem is that once Star Wars was announced, people went crazy and bought so much. These toy stores and retailers bought so much stuff. Oh yeah, see right here, I was just kind of thumbing through Rogue One stuff and how nobody really cares for. What was her name? Jen Ersu or was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's her name.
Even Ray. I mean, they got so much Ray. Like nobody cares. They got so much, and I think that Lucasfilms and Disney thinks that you're stupid. They think that they can just throw something on screen and you're just gonna buy it, but it's not. It's just not happening.
Unfortunately, they're not really appealing to the kids. They're appealing to us, the generation that seen the creation of Star Wars. That's what they're appealing to.
Yeah. And Captain Jenks says that store's got to eat all that loss thanks to Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah. Once they buy all this stuff,
yeah,
they have to either sell it, or sell it at a loss. But what I've been hearing is that these retailers, Target and Walmart, what I've been hearing is that the space is more valuable to selling other products than that stuff just sitting on the shelf and nobody buying it. Like it's more valuable just to try to get rid of the stuff at pennies on the dollar than just have it sitting there taking up space.
Yeah, at this point, any sale is it's a good sale, even if it was like for a penny. At least you got something out of it.
Yeah. And this is just kind of just me going through some of the aisles. This is just more me reminiscing right now and trying to document probably one of my last times going into a Star Wars store. I mean, Star Wars, a Toys R Us store.
Yeah.
Star Wars store.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Last Monday, I went to Target to see, because this is back when we first decided to do this experiment. And I went to Target and I seen compared to Star Wars products compared to the Marvel, and Marvel was just I think they devoted 2 aisles to that, and Star Wars is what you just seen on the video, so it was like a half aisle.
I think that's it, because from there I actually go to looking at fixtures that I was actually interested in. So yeah, that's it. Do I have anything else to talk about? Oh, so our last topic. Let's talk a little bit about this. I'm going to leave this up to the chat, and Arnold, I'll ask you the same question. What can Lucasfilms and Disney do to get people interested into Star Wars again? And I know there's a lot of people interested in it already, but not at the level as there were when The Force Awakens first dropped.
Right.
So what can you do to draw back those fans that have no interest anymore, or have just had it set in their mind that Star Wars is done? I have no interest in Star Wars no more whatsoever. What do you think they can do?
I'm in that camp right now. Unfortunately, there's not much they can do. So I'm looking at Solo. I almost said Solo, but Star Wars as a franchise is in a tailspin right now. They off the legacy characters, and one of the legacy characters actually died in real life, Carrie Fisher. R.I.P. with that one. There's not much they can do. They didn't set up any other new characters or fleshed out characters to for people to be interested in this stuff. Even Finn isn't fleshed out enough to even care. I mean, Poe Dameron, I guess, but he's not completely fleshed out like with Han Solo, or these other legacy characters. Granted, we had 3 movies. We had a whole 20 years plus of these characters. We had the extended universe novels and video games that had these characters in them: Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Ben Kenobi, C-3PO, R2. Those characters. Even R2-D2 is more fleshed out than Finn, and he's a robot,
a droid
that doesn't speak any dialogue really. Just beep boop bop boop, and he's more interesting than Finn. He's more interesting than Rose. Disney didn't set up any additional characters to insert in future projects. I mean, you got Rose, but she was an off character. She was like a one-off type thing for The Last Jedi. I don't know. I mean, my personal opinion, my answer to this is that you can't save Star Wars at this point in time. You just can't.
Well, we've got a couple of answers already. Doug says that they should make that Obi-Wan movie epic oh, epic episode 9. Wait, make that Obi-Wan movie epic. And then he said episode 9 doomed. So I think what he's saying is that you need to make an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, to kind of draw interest back into the franchise.
I think the only oversaturation point, the only fatigue point right now in the Star Wars franchise are the Jedi and Sith. I mean, they are the main factors of the Star Wars franchise, because without those, you won't have Star Wars. It defeats the purpose of the title Star Wars.
People want to see lightsabers.
Yeah, they want to see lightsabers. They want to see the awesome, martial arts tricks, flips, and all that stuff. And do people really want to see blaster fire? Not really. But we've grown accustomed to this because that's all we've seen. The prequels, that's all it was with Jedi and Sith. That's all it was. And then now with this line of Star Wars, it's that again, not as heavy, but it's still there. So I think the fatigue there and oversaturation are the Jedi and Sith. That's what people are tired of. So if we had an Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't think it would draw that much attention to it, honestly. People would be like, oh, another Jedi movie.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I always looked at Solo as one of the more popular characters, and if they couldn't do it with him,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that they might be in kind of a dying genre or dying a property at this point.
The only thing I can think of right now, it just popped in my head. I should have thought of this earlier. The only thing that could save this franchise right now, maybe you get a little spark of interest in the fans again, is the Boba Fett movie.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got a little following, but I don't think it's bigger than Solo. And I don't know if I would think that it's bigger than Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but
for about, I would say 30 years now, people always wanted to know the origins or who Boba Fett was. If they did that, if they put episode 9 on hold, and let's say 2 years from now, I would say 3 years from now, do a Boba Fett movie, I think it would generate enough interest again, and then just slowly ease into the Star Wars franchise again through that. I think it could be done, but definitely Disney needs to put Star Wars on hold right now. Just put it on hold, give it a couple years, let this blow over. I would tell everybody in the staff to shut up or you're fired. Honestly, that's how I would do it. Do not go to social media to speak of Star Wars franchise. Do not do it. You're done. If you do, put an NDA on all my staff members. That's what I would do, because they're the ones I kind of put the fuel on the fire and actually lit the match. I think. Yeah. on the whole thing, it was burning from the inside.
Well, Jacqueline said kind of the same thing. She said not make another movie for a long time. Yeah. And I think I would agree with that. I'll just kind of put on hold for a little bit. Nerd Vision says, I think they had a change with online game that they released years ago. Whatever happened to that, I don't know. Jacqueline also says, bring back Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan when you do make another movie, and have him kill Darth Maul once and for all when there is another movie. I guess one of the spoilers is that in Solo, Darth Maul actually shows up. Although I don't know how that works.
I've told,
because he get cut in half.
Yeah, he got cut in half, but I'm not sure if
Solo before or after that. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm going to have to look at the timeline.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, definitely. So I asked people to stick around to the end, and I have a great idea. And for those who did, thank you so much, because I think this is probably the best idea right now for Disney and Lucasfilms. So this week when I was thinking about what they could do to revive Star Wars, and it isn't necessarily reviving them. I think one of the best things they could do to recoup some of their losses. Do you remember, Arnold and everybody in the chat, 20 years ago when they re-released Star Wars in theaters?
Yeah, back in 97.
Yes, they need to do it again.
But the comparing it here, back in 97, people, granted, this is before, the prequels even came out, so people were dying for Star Wars. 97, they re-released it. I think they did like a triple back-to-back showing in theaters.
Yep.
In one day. It was a digital THX Dolby Digital release of the movie. The downside of that is George Lucas changed so much on that.
I understand that, but I think people would still go to the theaters to watch Star Wars again in theaters, because when you sell to people like, it's been 20 years since this movie's been in theaters again, we're going to do it again, and it's almost it's almost 20, it is 20 years of the day, to the year, whatever, when they did it before. And check this out, Arnold, and people in the chat, re-release the prequels. Just get them in theater. You don't need to have any budget or any money making them again. People already know, and you might actually get people to go watch it. And not only that, but you will get people to fall back in love with those the generations that like those trilogies. And then you do that as a setup to get ready to kind of launch off episode 9 or Obi-Wan Kenobi movie or trilogy or whatever you want to do. My point is that if you re-release these, you will get people to get into the theaters, and you will sell tickets. Maybe not as much as, Solo or whatever, but you will still sell tickets and get people to watch these movies, and you will recoup some of those losses, especially from Solo.
Right. Yeah. Right now, I'm seeing the love for the prequels all over again. Because it was it was even some of the acting was poor, and some of the decision and the script writing was poor. The whole entire from episode 1 through 3, it was not entirely bad. I mean, even with Jar Jar Binks involved, I would take back Jar Jar Binks, to be honest. I'll tolerate him again.
Take back Jar Jar Binks.
What Disney's doing right now, so I'd rather have Jar Jar Binks back at this point in time.
Yeah, really. Captain Jenks says, here's what they can do. Bring back Mark Hamill and beg George Lucas to come back and fix this mess. Funny, for years they picked on George. Now he might be the only person who can fix this mess. Really.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, George Lucas is the one. I mean, help me, George Lucas. You're my only hope. That's right. It's such a mess, dude. It is. It's like someone crapped in a dumpster and set on fire.
Jacqueline says, edit Jar Jar out, though.
Yeah.
But then who would they be talking to? Like talking to the air, invisible person?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Or edit out whole scenes or something.
But yeah, I mean, there's like I said, there's a person that's doing a fan edit of The Last Jedi, and everybody's railing behind it. And it's like, well, it's too late, because it's already, what you disliked is already in theaters, and it's already part of the canon. The only way to stop this, in a way, is to put everything on hold. But I think people are just going a little too insane. People are treating it like Star Wars is life. And I'm not that hardcore into Star Wars. I like the franchise. I like what it did, but I'm not like picketing on the streets or anything, because why? Again, life's too short. Life is way too short for that stuff.
True that. Well, I don't think I have much else. I think that I've kind of blown my load and gotten everything said that I wanted to say about Star Wars and Solo. If anything else, groundbreaking drops, then I'll talk about it. But this is probably the last time for a while we're going to talk about Solo and Star Wars.
I agree. This is it's beating a dead horse. I think what people I'm noticing, especially on YouTube, there's a lot of YouTube channels devoted to this. Is they're inserting their own political beliefs and agendas to this, which yes, from Disney, from what I'm seeing, they have their own agendas as well. But it's it's a two-way street. I mean, Disney's doing their agendas, and then the other people reporting on this are doing their own agendas, and it's just a mess. It's static. That's basically, it's just noise in people's ears. And it's real life politics all over again, but it's with Star Wars. So I'd say I'm done talking about this, because what else could you discuss about this? I mean, Star Wars is in trouble. Let them figure it out. And but to insert politics and all that stuff in there, and name calling and bashing of actors, and it's just, come on, find something else to do. Find something else to do. So
shout out to Nerd Vision. He's in Canada watching us, and shout out to Jennifer Courtney. She says that she's listening to us while she's at work. So thank you so much for listening to us, Jennifer.
So I mean, the main reason why I'm doing this is because and mainly this point is this is the first Star Wars movie with the Star Wars title in it that flopped. That's what I'm interested in. And I'm trying to figure out why it flopped. And it was interesting to see the toy line. So we, doing the videos of toys. I had a lot of fun doing that stuff as well. But just to keep rehashing that, no, I'm done. Yeah. So tonight for me, I'm done with this.
Jacqueline, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. She had a lot of words of knowledge and a lot of input on her thoughts and opinions about the franchise as well. Also, thank you, Doug 34, Captain Jenks, and everybody else who showed up. Mr. Unknown Comics Guy, Jason Smith. So thank you, everybody. This is probably going to be it for now. Arnold, I'll leave it up to you. Do you got any final thoughts and shout outs?
You got some shout outs to chat room. We got Dankentar on my channel right now.
Okay.
Sir Douche, Kyle J Town. We got Shout Gamers. We got Slow Cool, Cute Heel Gamer, Commander Root, and Nightbot. Yeah, it's a bot. Yes, control my channel. So thank you everybody for stopping by. What I'm going to be doing in the future is I've already got ducks lined up in a row. I've been playing the Elder Scrolls Online quite heavily, and I got people from various podcasts that I'm going to be interviewing from them. We got Lore Seekers podcast and Tales of Tamriel from the Dungeon Crawler Network. I'm going to be interviewing all the hosts from those podcasts, delving into their minds of why they created the podcast, even to the point of why they created their gaming handles and their online persona handles. Why do they decide to do that? And just have a discussion, like a roundtable discussion, and talk about Elder Scrolls and talk about podcasting and entertainment and live streaming and whatnot. So check me out on twitch.tv/toybox. That is twitch.tv/TOYB0XX. I'm going to post that in chat right now. I'm live right now. So if you want to check it out, I'm going to be continuing streaming. Once we get done with this, I'm going to be playing some Dead by Daylight. It is Freaky Friday. That's what I call it. I'm going to play some survival horror games when we get done.
Nice. Just again, want to thank everybody in the chat who joined us. It's been fun. And join us next week for Freestyle Friday. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about, but I should have something to talk about. But until then, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Keep God first in your life and enjoy your comic books and your movies. And till next time, everybody, we will see you later.
Have a good one.